Well, it's that time of year once again, and I'm just going to accelerate past those same conversations you have with your friends and family every single year. Isn't it a summer going by quick? I thought it was kind of going by slow. Did you see the World Cup? I know everyone cares, and then they stop caring. Time for football season. Well, if it's time for football season, it's time for a Dave and a Dan, the third season, the third edition, and we're going to welcome Dave back for season 3, where we're going to do that August episode where we're going to throw a couple things out there. Unfortunately, after just a beautiful year one to start things, there were a couple unfortunate ways that I kicked off the season last year. Now, ultra unfortunately, I know on my Patreon, for long shots, I like to give out 2. I'm like, you know what? It's a long shot. Most receiving yards, let's take a stab. 2 players, right? One maybe in the decent price range and then an absolute long shot. Well, of course, on this show, I decided to bring Marvin Harrison for most receiving yards. I couldn't just bring the other one I highlighted, Jackson Smith. No, I had to bring Marvin Harrison, and it set the whole season off on the wrong foot. So we're here to pick up those pieces, and hopefully, this is this is a Teen Wolf every other generation. It skips, and this is going to be like 2 years ago where we had a fantastic year. So let's look to kick it off the right way. Dave, how's your summer? Is it going slow? Is it going well? All that stuff.
When did you get the chief? When did you put the chief Wahoo? It was just peering at me from over your shoulder.
I think he was there all last year.
Are you kidding?
I put that up last August. He was creeping out the corner at you all year.
I saw it during your intro and I couldn't hold back. I started cracking up. I just see him peering at me like from behind the fogged glass. That's good. Has it really been there for over a year now?
We will.
I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to go watch an old episode to see that
I think you can click on any one, and if I'm talking, he's just going to be. He's like how there's like a devil. It's the Indian over my shoulder, not the Indian in the car. Here, the angel and the Indian. No devils around here.
I searched Dave and Dan on YouTube, and the first thing I got is a 1992 Reebok commercial
the
with
Olympians,
300,000 views.
There's the Dave and Dan Olympians. The searches get a little better around football season, so we gotta start re-hitting the algorithm now. Maybe try a Dave and a Dan, but it's guaranteed it's going to be there. I'll even include a screenshot of it. Dave, how did the summer go? I know you said you should think about getting into baseball. I politely declined that offer. I decided to, the R&R, the refresh, relax, reset. That's what I did. But, I've been really kind of digging through some dirty season-long props, some regular ones, some strategic ones. And then
a couple good ones, yeah.
If somebody's watching this video, there better be multiple digits on some of those bets. So I tried to find some of those. How have you started to ramp up your NFL stuff? I know what's the tweet thing you put out? It's with you got updates, the important stories from every team.
Yeah, I built a training camp page out. AI is a wonderful thing, dude. It's incredible. So it's pulling in 300 beat writers, tweets or posts.
AI is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Hey, Dave, you see those Chiefs last night? Couldn't even cover the 2.5.
It looks like me.
It's also scary.
It looks like me. Yeah. And I used to smoke cigarettes too. And it's the same. I don't know how it understands the drag mechanism and everything. That's the weird thing. It's eerily familiar.
And now look, if you say make it Jim Carrey, it won't do it. I said make it sound like Jim Carrey's twin brother. Listen to how he says.
You see those Chiefs last night?
You hear some slight Carrey in there?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's terrifying. That's legit you. And it was off of 2 pictures from Dave and Dan. No, you didn't send me high resolution profile shots. That was just off 2 pictures.
It got my side profile right, which was strange. The side profile it got correct, which was odd, you know, even my hair if I don't have a hat on. But no, the training camp thing, I'll have you link it for people because it's free. It's awesome. And I'm going to run it through the regular season too. I did it for myself because I hate each summer. And I'm sure you feel the same way. Like if you're prepping, and I know you actually take legitimate time off in the summer too. So if you're trying to prep and see what's going on, you have to go. I don't think there's any really good sources out there where you can just find daily updates on all 32 teams without having to click the team or get through ads or any of this stuff. It's everything in one spot. And each morning at 7 a.m., it just auto updates with the top 5 stories. And then there's like jump navigation up top. You can just click it. It'll take you to any team of the 32 teams you want, all the camp battles, the injuries. It updates I built it for myself. And I was like, I think other people could benefit from this. So yeah, man, check it out. It's actually, I think it'll be really helpful. And I'm going to carry it into the regular season as well.
And I should be able to provide a link down below as long as it's accessible via a standard HTTPS.
Oh yeah, it's on the Stochastic website.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna. You don't need an onion router for it. I'll send you down. I'll send you the link for sure.
So last year, because of 2 years ago, where we found the James Cook over 3.5 touchdowns for the season-long number, we said we got to take low totals and just smash all like that because we had success with it. It was just natural to think that. I mean, after more time, really, this is a known thing. You could use AI to even look up the numbers on this. But if you were to just take every single under across the board when it comes to futures, you would be a winner. And as I explained in the one video I put out this summer, it was actually a random NHL video. There are many ways to cash an under. You can do it legitimately, straight up. You can have an injury. You can have a trade. You can have all sorts of, you can have rest the final 2 weeks for whatever reason, because they're just trying to be careful with someone. Devontae Adams type situation. Multiple roads to an under, pretty much one road to an over. And the last 2 seasons was just a cash fest with NHL unders. So now this season, I've taken that same approach to NFL individual player prop, like their futures and their totals. And I understand that it takes a long time to get paid, but at least it's not like the NBA season or the NHL season where you're waiting from September all the way through almost the summer. At least it's just the NFL. Regular season starts September and it ends early January.
Yeah,
and
it's not that bad.
Good bets in there, then, you know, it's also like it's a secret way to save money as long as you win. So let's try to focus on some winning bets. And I'm going to start in a place before I get to the player. We talked about this team in the playoffs. I said, this team is garbage. I think in the playoff episode, I'm like, they are garbage. I don't even know why they're here.
Wait, can I guess first? Can I please guess first?
Yeah, you're going to remember.
Wasn't it the Niners?
Yeah, because your Eagles lost to them.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it's just like, you see, they were winning all these games. It's not a fluke. And that just more so had to do with one of those Eagles. It's going to be one of those postseasons like it was against the Bucks, and the offense was in disarray. And they had that game for the taking, if I recall, when they had a lead and everything. And then they just got absolutely destroyed. This is a team that is just continually getting older, a team whose prime was a couple of years ago when they lost yet another Super Bowl that they had a lead in. And now all those guys are just, you have George Kittle coming off of a torn Achilles. You have Deebo Samuel, who left and now had to come back in to fill for an injured Ricky Pearsall. You have Christian McCaffrey coming off a 400 touch season, his age 30 season, and then you got that lingering substation waiting to take anyone down. They're waiting to take you down. I mean, one of the best bets I can give, and I texted you this a little while ago, is any sort of Mike Evans under. You combine his injury history with that substation, and you have a grand total of 3 games played this season. But when it comes to the Niners, I feel like just every 50-50 situation went their way. They had a ton of injuries, and they weaseled these Mac Jones wins. But ultimately, I feel like we found out who they were. Their coach is injured, for God's sake, with whatever drama you want to talk about, like, police. I don't care about any. I don't care about the police. I don't care if he mowed down somebody that I actually know. I'm here to talk about some sniffs, and my first is going to be San Francisco to miss the playoffs. I just feel like all 50-50 situations went their way last year. And I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think they're going to lose a lot of those one-score games. I don't trust the players that they have. They're past their best years, in my opinion. And I know Shanahan's good, but I don't think it's enough to get them over the hump. And the reason I like this, aside from, let's say, the win total, is because you can kind of get lucky, and maybe you can just have a year in the NFC where there are a bunch of winning teams. Maybe San Fran has a good record, and somehow they don't even make the playoffs. So I'm going San Fran to miss the playoffs for plus 140.
I really don't hate it. I mean, a couple of things. First of all, they need to have like sub-markets at this point on just like how many starters will be missing at week 1 for this, or like where will Mike Evans, not will Mike Evans get injured, but where will his next injury be, right? Hamstring's probably like minus 250 at this point. It's gotten to a point where, look, my conspiratorial days have long passed me. There was a time, I promise you, there was a time where I was deep into it.
Publicly, his conspiratorial days are long behind him.
The problem is that once, like, social media became ubiquitous and everyone was using it to voice their opinions, then everything became a conspiracy theory. And then what happens is you gave it a bad name.
Straight Bon Jovi, man. You give conspiracies a bad name, and that's what they do.
It used to be like 1 or 2 every few years, and I can get behind that. Let me dig in a little bit. Let me do some research, right? Of course, because we all know what's going on.
It's but then now, let me get in on this. It's almost enjoyable if you haven't eaten poorly in a while.
Exactly, the old rabbit hole. This substation's drawing me back in, Andy. That's what I was getting at here. I'm getting roped back in with the substation. Look, they said they investigated it. Okay. But I mean, everybody's getting hurt. And there's a Twitter account. I wish I could credit him with it out there, that like, he's a big, substation guy talking about it all the time. And you'll have to find it, or I'll find it so you can put it on the screen. He listed, like, since the substation was they didn't just put it in, but they had changed it and expanded it. Since that year, I'm pretty sure the Niners have been the most injured team every single season, which just seems like an impossibility.
The Photoshops are incredible, by the way. Have you seen like Vecna, and all amazing. These things? They just keep getting better. So whether you believe or whether you don't believe, whatever you think it is or whatever you want to attribute it to, sure, I think the Niners are going to miss. That's just an opinion that I have, whether they make it or don't make it. This next one I'm about to give you, I personally believe this is as good of a number as you can take for an under for a guy coming off a 400-plus touch season, entering his age 30 season, and that is Christian McCaffrey, rushing and receiving 1,525 and a half yards. Oh. This guy's missing that number. He can just lose. He can play every single game and lose. We know how he looked running up the middle last year. Struggled a bunch. What was that thing during the year, Dave? It was like he hadn't had a run of 20 yards until week 17.
Hold on. I'm glad you mentioned that, because just the other day I was looking at this. You know how many 20-plus yard runs he had last year?
3. Yeah,
but that was a nice guess, by the way. I don't remember the names offhand, but it was like 50th in the league. Guys like Tank Bigsby or like Kyle Monunga, backups, these type of backups had 4, 5, 6, a lot of these guys. I'm throwing names out there, but you get the Tank was one of them.
Throw me another random funny name. Just give me some.
I know, seriously, yeah.
Did Kenny Gainwell get there? He may have. He may have.
I feel like Kenny Gainwell did a lot of that damage through the air. Was it Gainwell that we were hammering?
As
on the
long as you're on this show, Gainwell is just going to look like a star after a couple of years ago when you're like, listen, don't worry about Kenny Gainwell.
Hated the guy.
I know who this guy is.
I hated him in Philly, man. Well, he's out. He's out of. And now that backfield, by three. In Tampa.
Sorry, I derailed you. The McCaffrey 20-yard runs.
Yeah, he had 3. And if you remember, through the first however many games was it that he just had nothing at all. This was your thing too. Like, I remember you talking about it. McCaffrey was just a pure volume back. Now in fantasy, that's still great. Like if you're drafting him in fantasy, you're playing best ball. I'm still grabbing a ton of McCaffrey because why would I not? You know, he's going to get volume regardless, and receptions, each one counts as a point. But yeah, look, number one, the injuries. He's not getting any younger. This team clearly can't stay healthy. It is a lot of yards. He is going to put up a lot of yards. Is it my favorite bet in the world? No, because he might just get there based on volume alone. But I guess you're probably looking at it like he
have you ever seen the
30 times a game.
Have you ever seen the stats of players after 400 touch seasons?
Yeah. Oh, listen, and you've got
including Saquon last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there's only one guy who does it, who you have to throw it out for, and that's Derrick Henry. But that's just because of his, Frankenstein build. But a guy like McCaffrey, remember, a calf strain before week 1, 2 seasons ago, turned into pretty much missing the entire year. And this is a guy who he's missed a lot of time and has just racked up so many touches. Age 30 season, smaller white guy coming into town with that substation. Now, to me, this is a very, very easy click when I'm looking at high totals to take the under on. But I know, as I just told Dave before the show, somebody texted me, said, sorry if I don't get excited for taking a season-long -115 in the middle of August. So I understand, but hey, you said you're dying for football, so you want it, you got it. -115, under 15, 25.5 rushing and receiving for Christian McCaffrey. What do you think about Seahawks coming off a Super Bowl, kind of just being treated as another team in the mix? And then the first quote-unquote dream team since your Eagles, does that have the chance to unravel in a similar fashion?
I mean, look, it's hard to not view the Rams as the top dog in that division right now. It's really difficult. I do think the Rams are a better team than the Seahawks. Can Sam Darnold replicate that? Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker, I'm not going to act like, his absence, even though I think Kenneth Walker can smash in Kansas City this year. And I actually do want to talk about that. We'll get to that in a little bit, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, they have some pieces. Do they have enough pieces is the question. Like JSN had a remarkable year. Is that replicable along with Darnold? The defense is very good, but then you have a Rams team. I mean, if you were to say, all right, which one of these teams do we think is going to win the division? It's hard not to take the Rams. I mean, the Rams are +550 to win the Super Bowl. The Seahawks are +1100, which is still good odds. But
yeah,
when you can,
I just think, man, like the Seahawks are like a team of like younger players, way closer to, well, first of all, the motivation of this is some serious disrespect for them with the way they played and the defense they have. They have a lot of younger players, and it's funny because how old is Matthew Stafford?
What?
Is it 38 or 39?
I think he's my age, and I'm 39.
So when Aaron Rodgers was 39, everybody,
38.
Anybody who wanted him was chastised for saying like he's too old to build a. This isn't the younger Aaron Rodgers. But magically, we're just going to throw that out the window. This is a Matthew Stafford can kind of have a wacky year where he drops out at a moment's notice. Probably a guy who could maybe get injured a little more easy. So that, I mean, that's just one thing that could derail their season. Devontae Adams already is very injury prone. And then a bet that I would like to make with this team, and that is Kyren Williams. I want to take him for under 1,500 rushing yards as another high total that I'd like the under on. Number one, this was a guy who originally, not recently, but originally had some, injury concerns. He missed time in his first year. He had like habitual knee problems that apparently have just gone away the last couple of years. But what I'm kind of focusing this bet on is this continued ascendance of Blake Corum, which we saw a natural progression, and we saw a big jump in his touches from year one to year two. And speaking of those explosive plays and 20-yard runs and all that, Blake Corum was popping those way more frequently. And I'm just expecting some point throughout the year where they see, like, Kyren just doesn't give us those type of runs, and Blake Corum, as you really kind of saw in the back half of last year, he's the more dynamic of the two backs. And I'm not even asking him to like supplant him or anything like that. I think in a time split, more of a time split, this is an easy under 1,500 rushing yards, because Kyren looked more like a guy, just a regular guy as the season went on. And Corum definitely looked like he had more burst. Now, I'm always against guys like this in year one because people just try to oversell you that they're going to be some rookie sensation. Who cares that Kyren had all these yards? No, I would never do that. But now, a couple years in, once you started to see how things look, how they started to change, and the touch counts, I really like this under here for Kyren.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, look, a couple of things that you have to consider. One, it wasn't even, and you did mention the back half of last year, but it wasn't even just year one to year two. It was year one and then like week 6 or 7 last year. He had double-digit carries in 7 of his last 11 games, averaged over 5 yards per attempt on the season. Kyren's not a bad player, but Kyren's not, he's not special to the point where you can't steal reps from him. And we saw that last year, right? Like early in the year, Kyren was getting the lion's share of work. Even in those games where you'd see like 6 or 7 carries from Blake Corum, like, okay, you have this going for you and Kyren's still getting it. Corum's spelling him a little bit. You work later into the year and it would be like 15 for Kyren and 12 for Corum, or 13 and 10, right? And then if you remember, Corum hurt his ankle, and I can't tell you exactly what game it was or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was his ankle, and it seemed like he was going to be out. But then he returned the following week, and his workload was down a little bit. They were clearly being cautious with him. And then once again, he started getting more work towards the latter stage of the season, like in the final quarter of the year. So when you look at his last 5 games, rushing attempts, 12, 11, 14, 6, and 13. That's significant. And then in the postseason, he had 11, 6, and 9. If this was a 50-50 split, I wouldn't be shocked. The other, by the way, for fantasy purposes, I know this doesn't go to your point here on the rushing totals, but I always look at these two guys and you go, man, if they're really splitting, they're going to be touchdown dependent because they don't throw to running backs in this offense either. Like how often would you see more than a handful of total targets to the running backs in a Rams game last year?
It's just so weird because I know there have been points of Stafford's career where he doesn't mind doing that at all.
Yeah, I think it's a McVay thing.
Yeah. Wow, but I mean, I feel like Gurley used to have 1 million, like.
Yeah, he was also Todd Gurley. But yeah. I'm fine with this. Hey, look, I get why you're going. The truth is betting futures on overs on futures. There will, like, it doesn't mean that there aren't sometimes opportunities there. Like, it doesn't mean you have to only bet unders, but they're far and away the more profitable side of any bet with futures. Because as you mentioned, you only have one out, really. Well, that's not true. You have a few outs. If you bet the over on Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua got hurt or something, sure. Right. Like it is possible that a teammate gets hurt.
Yeah, but that's called an assist. Like that's not like a slam dunk. The other way, you just straight up win. A guy gets injured, he gets benched, you just win. The other side still needs to happen,
no doubt about it. And it's not just that. Like it's if you're betting these unders, the outs to win are unlimited. Like, it's not just that he gets hurt. If he gets hurt, then it's pretty much a wrap and you win. If his quarterback gets hurt,
Yeah.
if the offensive line gets hurt, if they're just bad, if the teams, there's just so many different ways that you can get there with unders. And it is true that if you were to blindly bet unders, and I'm not saying to just like blindly spam every under, but you would have made money. I forget how many of the past years it was. You may have mentioned it, but like you would have been profitable.
Yes, 100%. And I will say this: you don't only have to bet unders. Just target high totals, the unders, and target low totals that you like, and take the overs there. Like, just don't take some guy. Oh yeah, Justin Jefferson last year. No, let me take him 1,600 yards or whatever the hell's ridiculous stat that he was listed at. So that's just kind of when it comes to individual players. I really think it will be very profitable. I'm talking about 3 out of 4 if you pick the right sniffs. I feel like you're going to put yourself in a good position. Well, how do you know what's a good sniff? Well, hopefully you have some information, and then you have a little inclination, and then you have Dave who can green light a potential Eagles under here. Now, I know you probably are going to be more locked in on Eagles players than most people, but what I understand about the Eagles is you have a player in PHI M.Lemon here who missed almost all of OTAs, has missed most of training camp, was listed as the 3rd wide receiver to begin with because they brought in Wicks to be the number 2 wide receiver on a team that runs some of the fewest 3 wide receiver sets in the entire league. So you have all that going against you. And oh yeah, by the way, he's kind of injured still. And it was said, who knows if he'll even be ready for week 1. And we have a 650 or 649.5 receiving total for PHI M.Lemon. You green light? Do you not? How you feeling?
Now, they may run more 3 receiver sets with Mannion. I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but because it's like we know McVay, Shanahan, there's an influence there. But I'd be hammering the under. This is the my favorite bet of yours so far. You have a rookie wide receiver on a team that I personally think that they're going to be more efficient throwing the football this year. I just think the offense is going to be more efficient because based off of what we saw last year, think of it like this. I tweeted this a few weeks ago. If let's just say Kevin Patullo actually was the problem, right? Let's say he truly was the problem along with AJ Brown. And I know that sounds insane, but there's a lot of rumblings that AJ Brown in that locker room it was brutal. But let's focus in on Patullo. Let's say Patullo was the issue, right? If that is the case, and they brought in a guy in Mannion who some people were upset about, but I'm fine with it, right? And he can turn things around. You only need you don't need to turn much around to look at this offense and be like, they could be dominant this year, right? Jalen Hurts is still mobile. They still have a good offensive line, at least for 1 more year, right? Assuming they're healthy. Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby is still a great backfield. Goddard's still a quality pass catching tight end. Devontae Smith is still very good. I mean, Devontae Smith is elite, man. And Dontavian Wicks, I don't know. A lot of training camp highlights coming out, but you can't really take
gotta love those training camp highlights. Yep. DJ Moore is a 1,500 yard receiving. Why? Yep. Because we got those training camp highlights.
But I like Moore this year, and I know you don't, so we'll talk about that. But
it's not that I don't. I think there are more signs. I think even if they brought in a great wide receiver, it's just not how that offense runs under Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Like the Joe Brady. Yes, people have to now go back like 5 years to point to those Stephon Diggs season. It all changed once Brady was in there. It became a James Cook offense. Josh Allen still ran the ball a ton. There's no dominant receiver, and DJ Moore, it's not even like he's the same DJ Moore from 3 years ago. I do not see, I'm not buying what they're selling. Good year, maybe. I wouldn't even take him for 1,000 yards.
Fair enough. But as far as PHI M.Lemon goes, we're on the same. It doesn't look like he's going to, I mean, he hasn't been practicing still. And this isn't like, oh, Devontae Smith's missing some time with a quad or a ham. It's like Devontae Smith, he'll be okay, even though it's a new offensive system. Like K.Hi M.Lemon, this is his first year heading into the NFL. It's his first year as a pro. Sure, he's the 20th overall pick, but to not be able to participate in training camp, like if he's not out there, in these joint practices and each day at camp, you can't just throw him into the mix in week 1. So what I could see is they ramp him up later in the season and he still doesn't quite get there, even if he's involved. But early in the year, it feels like one of those spots where he's probably, unless something changes dramatically within the next week or two, he's going to be worked in slowly. I don't see any other way. I don't think you can just toss him into the fire.
Last year, I hammered a bunch of unders on rookies because I just don't. Like I told you about when they drafted Blake Corum, people are telling me he's just going to be used over Kyron, who looked fantastic and McVay loved on his first year. I just don't believe stuff like that. Last year, you remember who was pegged to have a huge role for Pittsburgh, the running back that they drafted?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, Caleb Johnson.
And
now they're saying he might not even make the roster.
His total was 725 and a half rushing yards.
Was it really? Was it that high? What did he finish
ended
with?
Up,
like 30?
I think 12. Yeah, something like that.
Right.
I mean, who knows?
They didn't use
Not 725. These guys got to earn their role.
Yeah.
And
I literally
mouth.
saw a report that he might not make the team this year.
It makes sense. Jaden Higgins, his was at, I believe, 675. We took the under on him. That was it. I took the under on Cam Scatterboo at like 525 or 575. I probably got crushed in that one. No, because while I was wrong, theoretically, and he was great, got injured, and I got a free win out of it. There are many ways to screw them on these bets. And speaking of those, I have more of these individual ones. I'm not going to bring them up here because, look, most YouTube watchers, they want to see multiple digits. So I'm going to get into the bigger digit plays. But over on my Patreon, I've been trickling one out a day for free. I mean, McBride under 98 and a half receptions. Alec Pierce, this guy's gotten, more PRP injections in him every single week. His under on receptions. And I just trickle out one a day for free on my Patreon, patreon.com/Andy Francess. So I got many more of these individual ones. If you like to be an individual -110 August trickler. So yeah, just another you're an August trickler. And here we go to more of a, I guess this isn't any sort of, the Pirates won't truly love this one, but at least this is one that kind of sounds a little more normal. This is a Division 1-2 bet. I'm going to go with a Division 1-2 that's not the favorite. Now, you want to take a stab?
Okay. So to finish first or second, or you're doing the first and second? You're taking the first and second finisher in the division. Is that how this works?
It doesn't have to be in order. You just have to guess the top two.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not the favorite?
Yeah, the favorite is not included.
Right. So you've got the favorite to win the division, either third or fourth, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Well, it's not going to be the NFC West. It can't be because you have the Cardinals
Yeah.
and then you already hate the Niners. So, is it the NFC South?
No, because that's a layup too, right? Like, what is a favorite at that point?
That's what I mean. There's no, I mean,
I know.
You're just throwing darts in the NFC South for the most part. NFC North is tough because you have four.
Yeah, the big three. Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, four. Well, I guess not the Vikings, right, with Kyler, but the Vikings.
It's a shame, right?
Well, because that Brian Flores defense, I honestly think
the team is great.
Yes, I think they'll be good enough. I'll give you one right now. If Minnesota, I don't know what their odds are to win the division. That is one of those teams where if Kyler's just decent, right? If he's just okay, I believe the team is good enough to compete. Make the playoffs. Maybe not. I mean, you have the Packers. You have the Lions. The Lions finished in the basement of the NFC North last year. I think there's going to be more parity in this division for quite some time than we've seen in a while. They finished dead last in their division and squandered the rest of the season away, losing to a creative player for the Minnesota Vikings on the second to last game. Do you remember that? Max Brosmer went out there and Jared Goff got picked off 3 times, lost 4 fumbles or whatever it was. That's a weird, and we'll get to yours, but that's a weird division, a really weird division.
Minnesota, to me, is the same team that was playing for the number 1 seed during week 17 2 years ago.
Exactly.
They just need somebody to step in there. And
Right.
they have now Hawkinson's not coming off the torn ACL. Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, all the sons, and nobody to fling them the rock. Quite unfortunate. So the one I'm going to go with here, the Broncos and the Chargers, because I don't have faith in the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, I feel like we talk about Mahomes every year now. He hasn't been that original Mahomes. I think we're at 5 years now. One of the most under-discussed points of the Chiefs continuing that the mini dynasty before last year is how absolutely nasty the defense was. When you look at some of their huge playoff wins on the road against Baltimore, so many of their big stands, holding Cincinnati in that second AFC championship game at the end, forcing 2 turnovers when Cincy could have went up multiple scores. The defense has what this is the opposite of the Tom Brady championships, where Mahomes was insane. It's just not the original Mahomes anymore. And last year, when you saw the D take a step back, he couldn't outscore his problems because the passing never magically came back. Even when Rashee Rice came back and Hollywood Brown was there, and Kelsey was there, and Worthy was there, he wasn't able to just overpower these teams. His deep balls aren't what they used to be. This is a guy who used to go 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a half against the vaunted Jacksonville defense back in the day, coming off an AFC championship appearance. And that's what the KC used to be. And then the D got great. And now that it's not great, I don't look at KC, especially with Mahomes coming off a torn ACL, not being able to run. How many first downs did he run for last year? And I know they're telling you he's a guy who comes back from everything. He's going to be exactly the same. Yeah, okay, we'll see what happens when he actually has people diving at his knees. So I'm going with them to finish 3rd in the division. I'm going with the Broncos and the Chargers to finish 1-2.
Look, this division's difficult for me because the Chargers, I mean, with Mike McDaniel at OC, I think he's better suited there than he is for a head coach because no one wants to listen to that guy as their head coach. Not when you're losing. When you're winning, fine. But by the way, it is crazy that Mahomes had 422 rushing yards in 14 games last year. Like that guy was moving. He had to. He was running for his life. If the Chiefs, if their offensive line play is improved, then they look a little bit different and better. But you're right. He's coming off a significant injury. Travis Kelce, I mean, probably his last year, right? I mean, it's at least 50, probably actually, it's probably 60%, 70% that this is his last season. Rashee Rice, I mean, Xavier Worthy still hasn't shown us like the type of guy that they expected him to be when they drafted him. I'd be a little concerned there as well. Now, if I were to take a division winner,
Sky Moore, that's who he's turning into, by the way.
I know. If I were to take a division winner, I would actually go Broncos. And the reason is I was reading something by Warren Sharp, and I don't want to just use one reason, but because these teams are so close, you know, like division winner, Chiefs are plus 160, Chargers are plus 190, Broncos are plus 225. You're kind of flipping a coin, right? Going into the season there. And then Raiders are 20-1. But the Chargers have a minus 24-day rest differential this year, which is by far and away the worst in the league. Like the next worst team is minus 15 or something. I think it's the Eagles. The Chargers rest differential is so bad that, I mean, they got truly screwed by the schedule makers. Now, normally you'd go, well, whatever, you know, how big of a deal is that? I think it becomes a big deal when you consider that their schedule isn't particularly easy either. You still have to, you don't have to love the Chiefs, but you still have to play the Chiefs twice. You still have to play the Broncos twice. and you're at a rest disadvantage in so many of these games. Like Bills, to start the season, Andy, they've got the Cardinals and the Raiders. Cool. Bills in Seattle at home.
Who has the Cardinals and the Raiders?
The Chargers, but then the Chargers do. But then they have Bills, Seahawks, Broncos, Chiefs, Rams, Texans, Ravens. And then sure you get the Jets. And then the Patriots. To close out the year, I guess it gets a little easier, but not really. You have like 4 easy matchups in there. That's an absolute gauntlet of a middle season schedule when you're at a rest disadvantage going into those weeks of the year. So I do have a little trepidation about the Chargers, and that's the only reason. Also, they have so many guys that continuously get injured on that team that it makes me even more.
Let's check for their substations.
Let's
check for some substations in the LA vicinity.
Which, if their offensive line wasn't banged up last year, I mean, that team's scoring 35 points a game.
They were undefeated, right? Herbert was undefeated when Alt was in there, or both him and I believe they were undefeated when the offensive line was at full health or 75% health.
Yeah, so but they lost and they lost their all-pro. They lost their all-pro lineman before the season even started, too.
Yes. So that's part of the reason why I feel like if these guys are healthy, they're going to be kind of matchup proof because they were slicing and dicing through people. I do want to mention, I'm happy you said that out loud. You said their first 2 opponents are Arizona and the Raiders.
No, sorry.
There are September bets. Yeah. There are September only bets, meaning like first month of the year, leading receiver, leading rusher. Take some flyers on some Chargers players because you could have somebody like Quentin Johnston go for 120 yards in like the first 3 games, some wild plus 20,000. So I'm going to look at like Ladd McConkey for, I don't know, maybe most receiving yards. I know those are hard to hit, but I think September is just weeks 1 through 3. So you're basically looking at a 3-week bet. And when you have 2 opponents who are Arizona and the Raiders, and you're going to have the Chargers at optimal health, you might want to look at like Omari and Hampton, maybe most rushing yards, most rushing touchdowns. And while we're talking about such things, I do want to mention one of those type of bets, most rushing touchdowns. I'm going to take a crack at it. I'm taking a crack at most rushing touchdowns.
Damn, plus 1,800, huh?
Is that not good or good? Not good enough?
No, I mean, first of all, it's going to be really interesting to see how this team operates because there's no more Tyler Algier. But also,
that's why I'm doing it. How many did that guy steal over the last couple of years? It felt like he was scoring 15 touchdowns a year when I was watching this damn guy.
Let's put it this way. Way too many. But then the other question just becomes like, how does the offense produce? And I've got to tell you, I got to tell you, I still think they have enough talent that, it's probably going to be Tua, right? So many people are down on him. I don't think Tua is a great quarterback. I think he'll probably be fine. When Tua had when he had Tyreek Hill and Waddle, like when things were going well, right? And the offensive line play was fine in Miami, and you had Devon Achane back there. That was a good offense. And does he have the speed on this team of Tyreek Hill? No, but Kyle Pitts came on pretty big, pretty hard last year towards the latter stages of the season. I remember that 3 touchdown game on a primetime game. But Drake London, Bijan Robinson, you can't tell me they don't have weapons. They probably will be able to move the ball, even if they aren't necessarily great. And another thing to consider, you look at this division, you're playing 6 games against the Saints, against the Bucks and the Panthers. Are those the worst defenses in the world? No, but it's not right. It's not Rams, Seattle, like that. It's not one of those divisions where they'll just destroy you defensively. So he has the benefit of the division, and he has the benefit of the fact that he just signed a monster contract, and this offense should still be able to move the ball. I kind of like that.
Now, I think you might need to look this up. I believe he either had 14 or 12 rushing touchdowns 2 seasons ago. So if he did that with Tyler Algier there, now he's going to be the unquestioned guy. I mean, unless you're scared of Brian Robinson, who's on his third team in 10 months. So unless you're scared of him, then it could be one of those years. I'm not saying they're going to be a great team. I know they have to be in a position where they can score, enough touchdowns to win this bet. But when you're looking at guys like McCaffrey who are injury prone and the other competition, Gibbs, is he going to be able to handle that massive workload with his frame? I don't know. I'm kind of liking Bijan here, and he's not one of the favorites. So I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson for most rushing touchdowns.
He had, by the way, 14. 2 years ago, he had 14.
So 14 rushing touchdowns. It's how many do you think you need to win it?
I mean, 14 could win it. I'm not saying it will, but it could. 14's a lot of rushing touchdowns, man. There's no guarantee that Derrick Henry has another 16. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously going to be in play there. He probably has shorter odds than he might have the shortest odds out there. 14. Here's the crazy thing though. Like Bijan had 304 carries and 14 touchdowns. Receiving touchdowns are more random than rushing touchdowns, obviously. Like they're still somewhat random because last year he had more rushing yards than he did the previous season, and he had half of the touchdowns. He had only 17 fewer carries last year and 7 fewer touchdowns. So yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of variance with touchdowns, an absolute ton of them. So I like it. 18-1 is pretty crazy.
So now I'm going to give you 2 shots. I like to take 2 cracks. I left that first bet. I took 1 crack at it. Here, I'm going to take one that's, kind of a long shot, and then one pick that's absolutely a long shot. And that is with most receptions in the league. My first shot's going to be Rashee Rice at plus 3,000. Now, Rashee Rice on a per game basis is like top 5 in the NFL as far as receptions go on a game-to-game basis. He's right up there, but his odds are certainly not at number 5. There was the suspension at the beginning of last season. There was the injury the season before. So you could definitely make the argument, well, one way or another, he's not going to stay on the field. But at plus 3,000, this is a guy during a year where Mahomes is more likely to want to get the ball out of his hand, even more so than in recent years where he's just peppering Rashee Rice. Now you have Mahomes coming off a torn ACL. Where's he going to want to get the ball to? Right out of his hands, right over the middle, run 3 yards, turn around, catch the ball, run after the catch. That's all what Rashee Rice does.
Yeah, they don't target him downfield. Yeah.
And you just want a guy who's just going to pile up receptions. Yes. You got to beat Njigba. Yes, you got to beat. Well, that's why they're giving you the plus 3,000. So
you got to beat Puka Nacua. You got to beat JSN.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase, but you still have T. Higgins. The tough part with that is that other than Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, there's nobody. It's Chase Brown. But similarly with Kansas City, who else do they really have? You're right. I mean, you look, if you were to look at all of these teams, the only reason that I would say this could be, because now they have Kenneth Walker, and I'm of the belief, and I said this 2 years ago. I probably said it in 2024 when the Eagles signed Barkley. When everybody, I remember best ball circles. Trust me, I get a ton of stuff wrong, right? I just don't talk as much best ball on Twitter, so it's easy for me to cover it up. But when Saquon Barkley came to Philly, and you're like, dude, he's not. There's no way. Like it's going to be a timeshare. He's not going to get. They're talking about not giving him a lion's share. It's not going to happen. It's like, hold on a second. Why would you? The Eagles never pay running backs ever. They the last time, I can't remember the last time they paid a running back. They pay him a ton of money. Of course they're going to use him. Well, I feel similarly with Kenneth Walker. Kansas City. When's the last time they have paid a running back? Seriously, Jamal Charles extension or something? Probably the last time they've paid any running back. right? I don't think they ever paid like Kareem Hunt big money. They didn't give Damian Williams or Isaiah Pacheco, any of these guys, any money, right? You just kind of cycle through them. And now you say, all right, we're coming off a bad year. We had zero run game whatsoever. And then you make him, at the time of signing him, the fourth highest paid running back in the league. I can't imagine they're not going to force feed Kenneth Walker the ball. So that would be my only pushback.
I don't think that takes away. I don't think that takes away for Rashee Rice. I mean, just how much
it might help him though too. I'm saying it possibly helps him if they actually have a more efficient offense. So I don't know, but Kenneth
now
Walker's
the second
change
one
his offense.
plus 10,000 Lad McConkey. Now that's based on the Chargers having this offensive line back. Keenan Allen robbed this man of 50 catches last year. I mean, maybe in the first 3 or 4 weeks alone. If you look at Lad McConkey, how he fared with Justin Herbert in that final half of his first season, his rookie season, this guy was projected to be a monster last year. Now with Keenan Allen out of there, and you have the offensive line back healthy for the most part, and you have McDaniel calling these plays, scheming people open, there's a chance, I'm not 100% certain, but there's a chance McConkey could have a monster year just by virtue of all those little, assists there.
Man, let me tell you something. I was looking this up the other day, and I couldn't believe it. Like,
I looked up a lot of stuff the other day,
which is weird, right? Because it just well, I get deep into the weeds around this time because I love doing the best ball drafts and stuff. So trying to figure out as much as I can. And I was amazed. Like, I knew Keenan Allen, as you just pointed out. I knew Keenan Allen took a lot away from not just McConkey, but a lot of guys in that offense. And also Quentin Johnston kind of had a bit of a resurgence. But the fact that Keenan Allen led the Chargers in targets and receptions when they brought him off, they brought him back in, remember that was July. Like, yes. He didn't get signed until July of 2025, but he was familiar. Him and Herbert knew each other. He led the team in receptions and targets. It's like you're right. How can you overstate the fact that he's gone now? I don't think you can.
Yeah, I definitely think McConkey, in one way or another, whether you want to talk about fantasy or you want to talk about touchdown bets or taking over, whatever. I think he's set, as long as he stays on the field, to hit a bunch of these overs. And now I got one final one for you that is, this is out there, but the precedent was set a couple of years ago. There was a long-standing precedent that tight ends, they couldn't really thrive their rookie year. But then we saw Laporta, and then eventually we saw Brock Bowers lead all tight ends as a rookie in receptions and receiving yards. So I want to take a tight end for most receiving yards for that position, which is something that you can do. Give me the Jets tight end who broke the record for fastest 40-yard dash time for a tight end.
This one's wild to me.
It's wild. It's the last pick of the show. We need to go out there somewhere, okay? You used to dabble in conspiracy theories. Well, here's one for you. You got a guy breaking records at the 40-yard dash.
He's so good.
You have a team who could be playing from behind a lot. You have pretty much a guarantee today that he'll be ready for week 1. So if he plays the whole season, you never know. You just never know. As long as he gets the ball. This guy could be, they said he runs like a top wide receiver. Like, he runs at the same pace a top wide receiver. So maybe he's just a massive mismatch that's able to get decent matchups with Garrett Wilson still out there on the field. And maybe he just goes absolutely wild. Who knows? Look, you know what? They call it a long shot for a reason. And you would never see me take a tight end in the past like this, especially a rookie. But you know what? We're taking a swing.
Well, first of all, I loved him coming into the draft. Like, it's kind of a shame that he landed in New York, at least now, because I love Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson's like one of the best. If Garrett Wilson had a good quarterback, you would be talking about Garrett Wilson like Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua. You could disagree with me in the comments. Go for it. I have like that guy's so good, so talented. Catches anything thrown his way. I mean, like, sure, you have some drops, but what I mean is he makes some incredibly difficult catches. They have talent on this team. They drafted Cooper. They have Sadiq. You have Garrett Wilson. You have Breece Hall, who I still think, even returning a couple of years after the injury, is still good. It's just the team stinks, man. And last year, I'm thinking, all right, maybe Justin Fields can help them because he's mobile and he doesn't need to do a ton. Unmitigated disaster, even before the injury. Geno Smith goes from Seattle to Las Vegas, and he was as bad as it possibly gets. So the question now, Andy, is which version of Geno Smith are you going to get in New York this year? If you can get a Geno Smith that we saw a couple seasons with Seattle, Kenyon Sadiq could be good. But I'll be honest, I think 6-1, or sorry, 60-1. I don't think the odds are long enough. I don't.
Fair point. Who was Brock Bowers' quarterback a couple seasons ago?
Yeah, but Brock.
Who was it? Was true bottom of the. What was that guy's name with the mustache?
Yeah.
What the hell was that guy's name?
It was. Wait, you're not talking about Minshew.
No. It was it was something. Is he an
He
Irish?
had AOC, right? Those were his initials.
Yes.
Aiden
O'Connell, right?
Or Aiden O'Connor, one of them. Yeah, Aiden O'Connell. Yeah.
Yeah, O'Connell. Yeah.
Yep.
So if he can do it with him, I mean, maybe these tight ends can. I don't know. This is what I want. Hey, look, we're ending with a conspiracy bet. Hey, feel free to end us on a good bet.
We're gonna find. Look, if you end up being right about this will be this. You'll be very happy that you.
It's easy. And if you're wrong, you go. I gave you a plus 6,000.
It's 60-1. Yeah, right. Exactly. Those are kind of the can't lose propositions. Where if you're
a beautiful thing,
you can victory lap it till the end of time. But if not, what did you think? Would you expect it to win?
And look where this pick is tucked in the episode. Dude, they're not going to find this one. This one's weaseled all the way.
No one's
in the
watching
back
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to throw on the way out that stood out to you?
No, I mean the PHI M.Lemon one's probably my favorite one right now. You have a lot of these rookie futures out there. I would just say when you talk about rookies, when you consider these rookies, because there are a decent amount of these rookie futures that exist right now. To your point, a lot of time, it doesn't mean you always take the under on all of them, but a lot of these rookie numbers are juiced heavily. There's just, the overs get hammered on these.
There is one small number I'll take, and I don't care how small it is, the rookie wide receiver that the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted, because if there's one thing I know about Aaron Rodgers, he's never throwing to a rookie receiver unless he's absolutely forced to. And I may have saw that at like 395. I'll take the under on that one as well.
Jeremy Bernard.
Yes. So,
yeah.
Hey, all right. We dusted off our sleeves here. We kicked off some of the rust. If there's anything great that comes out, I know one of the things that I love the most are head-to-head bets. Because, remember when we did McBride versus Kittle? I feel like they make mistakes.
Yeah,
that was a good one. They make mistakes in the NHL. They make mistakes in the NFL. And I feel like that's why they're not available right now. So if they trickle out some head-to-heads, I will definitely be all over that. Dave, this is your time to, you already told everybody where they can catch your training camp news updates. Where else?
Yeah, man. And the training camp thing, by the way, great if you're looking to bet futures as well, because you're going to have a lot of information. If you find it quick before the lines adjust, it'll be helpful for everything, really. But I'll have some preseason picks out. I like doing preseason stuff. I think you can find an edge there. And come find us over at Stochastic for everything DFS. We're less than a month away from the start of the season. Over at Odd Shopper, you know where to find us, man. All of those bets, all the plus EV bets, and we've just added a ton of new tools. Liquidity tool to spot sharp money. And it just goes on and on. We've got a lot going on right now. So I'm excited about the season, man. I'm excited to be back for this as well.
Good luck on all those best ball drafts. I think I'll do my one Charlie
you
Bucket
had a real
lineup
shot
again.
last year, I thought.
Yeah, one Charlie Bucket lineup for me again this year.
Yeah.
All right, man. I will see you later. Take it easy. I will be back with you guys next time. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, do all those things that help out on this channel, and we will be back with you for week 1, Dave and a Dan. Take it easy.